Unsolved.
The Zodiac killer case. The bearded man. Cheri Jo Bates was a popular teenager, and she was on the varsity cheerleading team in her junior year, and she was a candidate for junior princess, and she was in the city parade, and she was a member of the student council, and she was murdered in her freshman year at Riverside City College. And this video is not going to go into the details about her murder. This video is going to go into the details about who killed her and why. So if you want to know who killed her, then you might want to continue watching. So this confession letter tells you why the killer did what he did. He deliberately picked her out because he knew her from high school and possibly before then. And he disconnected one of the wires to her car so her car wouldn't start. And in the confession letter, it says she was then very willing to talk to me. But only one thing was on my mind, making her pay for the brush-offs that she had given me during the years prior. So I started to think about this, and when I was making the last video, and it dawned on me, it's probably somebody from the football team, the Ramona High School football team. And I found this guy, Flake C. Casto, who was on the varsity football team and graduated 1 year prior in 1965 than Cheri Jo Bates. And I had covered this man before, but I found out a great deal more information that I will now share with you. Now, something that I found out before is his family lived at 4195 Via San Jose, the same house that Cheri Jo Bates lived, but they lived there in the 50s prior to Cheri's family moving into that house. So he probably knew her back then in the late 1950s. And I found out that Flake enlisted in the United States Navy in 1966, and he lived at this 8279 Marie in Riverside before he did boot camp. And I found out that he got married, and he got married at St. Catherine's Catholic Church, the same church that Cheri Jo Bates attended. So here I created this graphic so you could see. They both lived at that 4195 Via San Jose house. First, Flake lived there with his family. Then Cheri moved in there with her family. They both attended Ramona High School. She graduated in 66 and he graduated in 65. They both were involved in football and cheerleading, going with the football team. And they both had a connection to St. Catherine's Catholic Church. And after graduation, Cheri enrolled in Riverside City College, and Flake enrolled in the United States Navy. Oh, and I almost forgot these 3 more details. First, this newspaper story, and it states, UCR police say a freshman student was raped October 28th near UCR parking lot 17 around 8 p.m. as she was walking toward the library. And then there was this newspaper article. Campus Police Chief Weston Robinson said Thursday morning that Flake, Crawford Casto of Riverside was arrested by campus police at about 3 p.m. Thursday. Casto was booked into Riverside County Jail on suspicion of forcible rape and was scheduled to be arraigned Thursday in Riverside Municipal Court. I will come back to this in a moment, but then I found this newspaper story in the San Diego Union Tribune. A 21-year-old man was captured by gunpoint. The suspect was identified as Flake Crawford Casto. Now, going back to the UCR crime, the charges were dropped and he was charged with burglary. And he ended up getting sentenced, found guilty, and sentenced to 5 years in jail. This here is CMF, California Medical Facility. And this is where Flake Crawford Casto was sentenced to prison to serve 5 years. And here he is with his beard at CMF with his handmade jewelry, a craft that he learned in prison. And he got out, I don't know, around 1979, 1980, and opened his own business in Sacramento. And then he moved to Forest Hill and moved his business there. So I was trying to find if Flake is still alive, and I found this under mugshots. Flake was arrested for rape by force and/or threat and commitment as a mentally disordered sex offender. Well, what do you think of this? Am I right? Well, next week's episode will be even more surprising. I emailed the Riverside Police Department, so I should hear back from them by then, and I'll let you know. And I'll see you next weekend with another episode of Unsolved.